Pros and cons of a Kansas land trust. So in a land trust, say for instance you have two rentals, rental A and rental B, and these are all both inside of a land trust, right? And we'll just call that land trust, for simpler terms, land trust AB, okay? Or we could just call it trust AB, doesn't matter. But for purposes of this, we'll call it land trust. So this is called land trust AB, okay? So in the land trust AB, you're going to have to name, right, a beneficiary, right? And so that beneficiary, if you're just going to name you or a person, here's the problem for that. This person will be exposed to any judgment on either rental A or rental B. So that's why you're going to have liability on that if you just have the land trust by naming a person as a beneficiary. However, if we change that strategy, and I'm just going to use this to copy over and name that beneficiary as an LLC, that's great news, right? Because what happens is, let me just get this up. What happens if the beneficiary is an LLC, the LLC has judgment creditor protection to the extent of the assets in the LLC. Actually, in most states, the distribution out of the LLC to a person, which you can then change. So they have to get a judgment and then a charging order. So, an LLC is can be taxed a number of different ways, right? A sole proprietorship, it can be a partnership, it can be an S corp, it can be a C corp, and they all have different tax returns. So what you could do is on this, rental A and rental B, you could name the LLC as the beneficiary of this land trust and have it both. Now, you could also set up, right, something a little different, and you could have, land trust A, right, and then land trust B, right, and then you'd have two separate land trusts. And what you would do there is then maybe they're very expensive properties. Maybe they're not these little, you know, $30,000 properties where if it's like 30,000, then you just can create one land trust and protect several. But maybe these are more valuable, and so maybe what you want to do there is set up a land trust A and land trust B. Maybe even want to set up and take it a step further so that the beneficiary has, two different LLCs. It could have LLC one or LLC A, right, and LLC B, right? So let me just copy that down. So it would look more like something like this. Uh, and so it would look like that. So you have a variety of options in setting these up. And then, of course, the last thing you want to make sure you do on all this is set up a living trust so that it all pours over to that so that you skip probate. Do that living trust or pour over down to that living trust so that essentially it would look something like this. This goes here, these both go here. So those are the things that you can look at when setting this up. If you have any questions, give us a call or click on the button for live chat. Thank you. Pros and cons of a Kansas land trust.